That people will be driving in, and that's where it comes in. Take as many surface streets as you can, try to avoid elevated roads and bridges, particularly in the overnight hours, and then just be as careful as you can.
New Orleans Homeland Security Director warns those who commute into the city that they need to be careful if they have to come to New Orleans for work. It's just one of many warnings the city is sending out before an Arctic blast is expected to hit the area tomorrow night. Jacob Bradford is in the newsroom with how state leaders are working with parishes to make sure they're ready for what's to come.
Well, Meg, this afternoon, Governor Jeff Landry and parish leaders were on a Zoom call getting updates from across Louisiana on how preparations were going, all working to make sure the winter storm that is coming goes as smoothly as possible.
We're not a state that's very well equipped to handle heavy snow. And so we're going to urge our citizens to be patient as we work to clear the roads and make it safe for them to travel.
This weekend, Governor Jeff Landry met with state and local leaders over Zoom to make sure everyone is on the same page and prepared for the winter blast and the possibility of snow.
We're concerned. Obviously, this is not something that typically our area is used to dealing with, so there's a couple different pieces to this operation that we're working on right now.
New Orleans Director of Homeland Security Colin Arnold says all aspects of daily life are being looked at, including water, electricity, and using roadways.
I mean, if you look at almost every roadway coming into this city and out is elevated. The interstates, the expressway, all of the bridges we have in New Orleans East, it's definitely a challenge for us.
And that is the main focus in New Orleans, bridges and elevated roadways. Arnold says those freeze first and stay frozen. New Orleans Fire, EMS, and police will be fully staffed, with NOPD monitoring the roads and will close them as needed.
They keep them open as long as they can, but even at some point, salt and sand just don't work anymore. Primarily the city has sand. We don't really have salt capability. We will borrow some salt from the state. I know that the state DOTD has been making salt brine and collecting salt all weekend, and they'll have that ready to go, primarily for bridges, state roadways, and I-10.
For the unhoused population, they will be brought to a city-run warming shelter before being taken to the state shelter in Gentilly. Currently, New Orleans leaders are increasing capacity at homeless shelters. The Rosenwald Recreation Center on Broad Street will be used as a warming shelter, and if more are needed, other community centers are on standby. Arnold says Entergy is working to trim trees from power lines, harden their infrastructure to keep the power on, and bringing in extra crews. But a big concern is the water in Orleans Parish.
Overnight, people will run more water than they need to, and then in the morning they'll get up, they'll shower, they'll do laundry, they'll wash dishes, and it creates a terrific demand on the system, which then can create the issues with like low water pressure, boil water advisories, and things like that.
Arnold says turn on one faucet, the furthest from the water meter, running cold water. The stream should be as big as a spaghetti noodle, and he says with that, your pipes should be okay.
This could be a very unique weather anomaly that we're going to have here. So expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow in New Orleans in January is something that is going to require a lot of attention and patience by our residents, and we're going to do a lot of work to try and mitigate any of the problems that come about from it.
And the city of New Orleans will have a press conference tomorrow morning at 11:15 with updated information. Tomorrow, we are also expecting to hear from Jefferson and St. Tammany Parish leaders. Meg?